Residents, when they come in here, one of the things that they say right away is how warm this home is. Not just, again, as I mentioned, visually, it's a beautiful home. It's a newer build. We have all of the amenities, but also from the staff to their peers here, everyone is just very warm and welcoming.
In this video, you'll meet Melissa Hawki, who's the General Manager of Oakcrossing Retirement Living in London, Ontario. And in this video, you'll hear her explain the unique warmth in its residents and its staff. You'll also hear her explain how the residence celebrates holidays like Halloween and Christmas. And you'll also hear her explain the value of community, especially in times of stress and pandemic, as we've seen in 2020. So why don't you start by telling us 3 things that you love about your job?
Ooh, the residents, the company, and I think I definitely enjoy the staff at this home.
And what is it about the staff that you like working with?
Oh, they're remarkable. They're incredibly dedicated. They love this home. They're compassionate about their seniors. And, they really, really are empathetic.
And the company you mentioned, what's different about the company?
Well, People Care is a people company. So it for sure puts the people first. That would include everywhere from our staff to our residents. This is the only retirement residence that People Care does have. So there is a lot of support and opportunity here.
And what drew you to this line of work and then ultimately to Oakcrossing?
I started off in social work, and it was kind of one of those things that you didn't know existed until you were there. I landed a job working with seniors for a larger organization in Canada, and it was where I had my aha moment that senior living is what I was really passionate about. And through there, I worked my way through retirement homes from dietary, housekeeping, all the way up to a general manager position.
When you arrived at Oakcrossing, what was something that you that struck you that was different about it with your experience in the field?
Right away, the people, the home. The home is remarkable. It's not just visually beautiful, but the home is incredibly warm. The residents here were incredibly welcoming, very open and warm and kind. And that was a really great beginning for me here.
So it was a warm welcome for you as general manager. How does that extend to new residents who are joining the community?
Residents, when they come in here, one of the things that they say right away is how warm this home is. Not just, again, as I mentioned, visually, it's a beautiful home. It's a newer build. We have all of the amenities, but also from the staff to their peers here, everyone is just very warm and welcoming. There is always a group of people who are willing to show you around, introduce themselves. It's very, very warm and welcoming.
And what do you think gives the residents, the community, that warm feeling at Oakcrossing? Is it the programs that you have? Is it the atmosphere that you try to create, or how is that that atmosphere created there?
It really does start from the top. People Care is a family-owned company, and they lead with those values. And those values are really reflected here at the home, from our programming to our meals to the way that our building is designed.
Can you speak a little bit about the programming? How do you build your events calendar, your activities, and do the residents have a chance to influence that and input their requests as well?
Absolutely. So we do host a variety of meetings monthly, everywhere from food council to activity and fun council meetings, where residents really get to help us design not just activities, but our food and the things that we host throughout the month. We offer a variety of activities on all of our 4 floors. So anywhere from, a movie theater event downstairs at our Grand Theater. We also offer cocktails down in our Blackfire hubs, we have a hair salon, we have exercise classes, we have bingo classes, we have lots of self-guided activities, we have a puzzle room. Like, the list is endless of the things that we provide and the things that we're doing here daily.
And then the menu, do you have a favorite item?
Yes, I do. I'm a big fan of the macaroni and cheese. It's homemade, so anytime the macaroni and cheese shows up on the menu is definitely the day that I'm in the kitchen watching it being made and enjoying the smells and benefiting from the taste for sure.
And what goes into building the menu? How are different dietary needs taken into account, and also requests from the residents?
So as I mentioned, we do have a food council where the residents can bring their suggestions, their concerns, and most certainly their likes. We have a chef here on site who develops the menu here on site with our residents' needs in mind.
And it's for dining. Is there a set time? Are there assigned seating, or is it more of a restaurant style?
Our dining is more of a restaurant style. So right now we have two dining room times. Normally we just had one, but in our new normal right now, we have two dining room times where our residents come down. It is not assigned seating. They can sit wherever they wish. There is a menu placed on their table where they can have a server come up and take their order.
And can you describe the kind of lifestyle that residents tend to have at Oakcrossing? Is it more on the active side of things, or is it more relaxed and maybe easy, laid back and easygoing?
Both. It definitely encompasses all of those things. It really is a retirement at any stage. So we do offer very independent living, which allows our residents to be able to, enjoy some of the benefits of retirement, such as, weekly housekeeping, laundering, enjoying those activities and those delicious meals. But we also offer assisted living for those additional support to be able to offer residents with the fullest independence for as long as possible. So we kind of encompass all things as far as independent and assisted living. I would say that our atmosphere here is very casual, very welcoming and warm. So the lobby is often very full of lots of residents sitting down having coffee, and in the evening sitting down with a bottle of wine.
For a lot of people who are looking at their options, they're looking at options that can be long term. So once they make this move, they're not super excited to make this move again eventually later on down the line. So are you prepared to have your residents age in place? And is there a point that may come that you aren't able to meet a need of a resident where they may have to go on and find a higher level of care in another service?
Yeah, certainly. So we do have two levels of care here that we can support for that kind of aging in place. So we do have independent living, and then we have assisted living, which offers just a little bit more support to be able to maintain the independence to their fullest. One of the great things about being in a retirement home and having access to a nursing team is that we can also support families and residents with all of those stages in their life. So we can help navigate that very daunting healthcare system and be able to, keep a pulse or a finger on the resident and their needs so that we can support them and the transition, hopefully, to keep it more fluid.
And how do you keep track of those changing needs? How do you keep your finger on the pulse of all your residents and keep them informed of what you're thinking about, how they're doing, what their needs are, and also their families outside of the residence?
Yeah, so communication is very important to us here at Oakcrossing. So we try to communicate with families on a regular basis, but we do maintain a very close relationship with all of our residents, to which we keep a care plan. So we're able to meet with them regularly, be able to hold documents that show their baseline when they moved in or from the last meeting, to be able to show where there's some options for support. And we include the family in those discussions throughout the entire time that they're here at Oakcrossing. Further to that, we do have a 24-hour nursing team and a director of health and wellness on site. So they are able to really build those relationships and those rapports with family and residents to be able to understand their needs and understand where they're going, to be able to put a good plan in place.
And like I said before, making a move like this is a big decision, and then there's a lot of work involved. And often with decisions like these, there can be some disagreement about whether or not this is the right time or the right place, or even if this move needs to happen at all between a family who are looking at their options, coming to you with questions. So, how do you help families navigate those dynamics? And what's your advice to those who are in that situation?
I think my advice is do your research. So even if it's not Oak Crossing, there are lots of retirement homes out there. Tour those homes, taste their meals, bring them to programming, really create a list of the likes and dislikes and the needs of each resident moving in, as well as Oak Crossing does offer trial stays. So if you're not really 100% sure that this is the place for you, or you're ready, or how you're going to fit in, we have a variety of options, from a respite stay, which is a short stay, to a trial stay, where you might not have to make the full decision, where you could come in, utilize our suite, utilize our furniture, and really get a good feel of the home before you make that decision.
And what's the relationship between Oak Crossing and the larger community of London?
Oak Crossing, as I mentioned, is a family-owned organization, and it is very important that we are involved in our community. So we work very closely with our long-term care partners, with our other retirement homes, and as well as our community. We are very involved in our retirement sector, but also the aging population here in London.
And what's surrounding the residents? Are there amenities nearby, grocery stores, anything like that?
There's lots of things nearby. We are located really in an area that is newly developed, but has a lot of things to offer. Everything from grocery stores to Walmart, to lots of spiritual church services around us, to farm boys, and lots of food. There's lots of food in this area for sure.
And is there a memory of a resident that stands out in your mind of someone you've met at Oak Crossing that exemplifies to you either the culture there, the lifestyle, or why it exists in the area?
Yeah, for sure. There's a resident here named Edna, and she just has the greatest sense of humor. There has been so many times where she surprised us. Like, for example, last week we did 7 days of Halloween, where everybody dressed up for all 7 days of leading up to Halloween. And, with Edna being here and wanting to remain safe, she found so many ways to participate with us without having to leave the home. She was so incredibly creative, thoughtful, engaging. She just brought so much laughter and light to our home. She really is amazing.
And speaking of, a holiday celebration, is there something at Oak Crossing that you find yourself looking forward to, an event or a meeting or an outing or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely the holiday season for sure. The holiday season's big here. We have 4 or 5 large Christmas trees that go up. We're also working on our first ever light display for the community to be able to enjoy. So we're really focused on this year providing a really great outdoor lights display for our residents, for our families, and for our neighbors.
And in your experience of the retirement industry, how have you seen it change over the years? And specifically about Oak Crossing, when you look 5 or 10 years into the future, how do you see it evolving or growing?
I definitely have seen a lot of change in the last 5 to 7 years in the sector for sure. There's definitely a few gray areas in the healthcare system as far as retirement to long-term care. There seems to be a very big misconception of what retirement home is. So, part of my job is to educate and show those how great a retirement home is. We often hear the saying, I'm not ready to go there yet. And that just speaks to me that they haven't been to a retirement home, or maybe don't know exactly what we're all about. But we're a lot of fun here. And, we have very independent residents who, are enjoying their time. They're enjoying the meals and laundry services that are provided. We have a concierge at the front desk to support them with all of their needs, and there's that extra support as far as emergencies go. So, you always have that comfort in knowing that someone's nearby. We have an emergency system in our room. We have a very in-depth fire plan, so not only do we provide a fun atmosphere, but we also provide a very safe atmosphere. I definitely think in the next 5 years, we're going to continue to grow in our community and be very instrumental in our community and be able to provide services to seniors that we're proud to offer, and will remain the premier retirement community in the city.
When you're looking at the people who have moved into Oakcrossing and those who are interested in enjoying the community, do you find that there is a trait that links them all together, whether that's they're looking for a certain kind of lifestyle, or there's something about the community itself that attracts them, or they're from the area and they'd like to stay close to home, stay local when they're looking into this phase of their life?
Yeah, I would say that originally when we first opened, it was definitely a lot of people who were in the area, and they were moving into the area. But what we've noticed is kind of a little switch of the trend is we notice that people are shopping around. They are going to other homes and touring, which is great. But often what we hear about when they tour Oakcrossing is, again, just how warm it is, how engaging the residents are, how people really feel like they're at home here. We want to really continue to ensure that residents understand that this is their home, and that we want to be able to support them while they're here, but also supporting their independence so that they can have their home. What we are noticing now with COVID-19 is that there's been a large group of people who have come in recently who have recognized the benefits of living in a community, such as, there's a lot more social interaction here, from the emergency response that I talked about. There's just a lot more support for emergency response. And there's a lot of things that I'm sure people weren't thinking about prior to a pandemic that they are thinking about now. Like, if I can't get to mom, or I can't, if I'm isolating, how are mom or dad going to remain safe? Or, if I can't go out and get these services, how do I get them into my home? So coming to a retirement home really keeps you engaged socially, but also ensures that all of your basic needs are met. No matter what happened out there, you have safety and a community here.
Have you seen an increase in inquiries and applications since the pandemic began?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We've always been a very busy home. We've always been a sought out home to stay here at Oakcrossing. But what I've noticed most certainly leading up to wave 2 is that people understand that this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So what they thought that they may be able to kind of ride out during the first wave, they're recognizing now that, it may be a little bit of a longer wait, and they're definitely seeing the benefits of coming to a retirement home, not just with the weather pending. So, inquiries generally increase as the, summer winds down and the winter winds up, but also with the fact that, people have been isolated for a while, and, they haven't been able to access what they've needed necessarily. So coming here really supports them in that.
And finally, what's your advice for people in their search right now?
Ooh. I think my advice for people who are searching for a retirement home is definitely do your research. A lot of people offer virtual and in-person tours right now, and take advantage of that. I tell a lot of residents, families, when they call initially is let's start with a tour, let's start with a discovery, let's understand what mom or dad really, really want. Or if it's the resident calling specifically for themselves, let's get to know them and understand exactly what they're looking for and need. We want to make sure that we're able to deliver everything that we say we can deliver. So it is important to families to do their research, ask the questions, tour multiple places, and come up with a budget for sure. I think that'll help families when they know When you add up everything that you're paying for in your own independent home versus what you pay for in retirement, sometimes they're exactly the same. So definitely having an understanding of budget and having an understanding of what's important, community, reputation, for sure.
And what are some of the first initial questions that you get from people who are beginning their search and they're reaching out to you?
I certainly always get the question about independent and assisted living. So that aging in place model, people don't want to move all the time. So they definitely want to know how they can age in place here. So we definitely explain the independent and the assisted living options that Oakcrossing offers, as well as we get a lot of questions around activities and food. Food actually being the top of the list, I'll say. We often get a lot of questions about the meals that we offer and ask for sample menus and even samples of food, which we're very happy to supply.